Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are standing at the edge of the water. Literally.
We
We're
are.
looking at one of the most vital, yet I think you'd agree, one of the most under-leveraged assets in the global tourism economy. We're talking about the marina.
It's a fascinating topic, Alexandra, because when most people, when they look at a marina, they just see a utility.
Parking lot for boats.
Exactly, a parking lot for boats. But the deep dive we're conducting today, which is based on a huge body of architectural and strategic work from the Art Marina Network, it challenges us to see something entirely different.
It really does.
We are looking at a fundamental transition, the shift from a parking space to a cultural waterfront.
Exactly, Maria. And we have a massive stack of documents here from EURAN, that's European Art Networks. We're looking at, everything. White papers, newsletters, strategic briefing.
Blueprints.
They're the blueprints. The blueprints for a completely new kind of maritime infrastructure. And the central figure here is the architect Alexandros Mimoglou, or Alexander, as we'll call him, and his long-term partner in cultural strategy, Maria Papafili.
And just to set the stage for you, the mission of this deep dive is really to reconstruct their argument. We're going to take apart the engine of what they call the Art Marina Network.
Right.
We need to understand the doctrine, the economic logic, and this very specific, what they call a proprietary path that they've designed to transform a marina, to take it from a place you just store a vessel into a place that projects, well, national soft power.
Ambitious stuff. So let's start with the problem, or as the sources here call it, the yachting paradox. I was reading through this data from PwC, which was presented at the Reimagine Tourism in Greece 2025 conference, and the numbers, they are genuinely startling.
They are stark. There's no other word for it. The data shows that Greece is currently the second most popular destination in the entire world for yachting traffic.
Second in the world. So the demand is there.
Oh, the demand is absolutely there. People want to sail the Aegean, but, and this is the core of the paradox, Greece is described as a dwarf when it comes to capturing the actual value of that traffic.
Right. Because like having the busiest store on the high street, but somehow you have the lowest sales per customer. It just doesn't add up.
Precisely. The sources point to an estimated investment gap of 3.5 billion euros.
3.5 billion.
And the demand for berths, the parking spots for the yachts, it far, far exceeds the supply, particularly in the Attica region, right around Athens.
Okay, so the simple answer seems to be, well, just build more marinas. But the Art Marina Network documents, they raise a much more provocative question.
They do. They ask, do we just need more marinas? Do we just pour more concrete and build more parking spots?
And that's the utility trap, isn't it? If you just build more parking, you're just fighting a commodity war on price.
You're 100% correct. The thesis here, the core argument, is that we don't just need more, we need better, we need smarter, we need culturally anchored marinas.
Okay.
Look, if you treat a marina as a utility, you get to charge a utility price. Simple. But if you treat it as a cultural destination, as a branded experience,
then you capture significantly higher value.
Exactly. Which brings us to the core entity we're analyzing today, the Art Marina Network. It's defined in the papers as a complete cultural, aesthetic, infrastructural, and brand transformation path.
That is a mouthful, Maria, but what does it actually mean on the ground? If I'm a marina operator, what are we talking about?
We're talking about moving away from this idea that infrastructure is neutral. Think about an airport versus a museum. An airport is usually just functional, right?
Yeah.
You get in, you get out.
It's a machine for moving people.
Right. But a museum is experiential. The Art Marina Network is arguing that marinas need to function more like museums or galleries. They shouldn't just be housing boats. They should be projecting a distinct identity.
And the target audience for this analysis, which should be clear, isn't just a casual observer. These documents are aimed at the Greek Marinas Association, the GMA, at big international operators like DMarin or IGY, and its strategic partners. This is a boardroom-level discussion.
It absolutely is. The proposal positions Greece, and specifically the Flisvos Marina near Athens, as the potential pilot.
The first test case.
Yes. The idea is to use Greece as the laboratory to prove this model, to prove that you can dramatically increase the value per berth by increasing what they call the cultural density of the marina.
I love that phrase, cultural density. Let's really unpack the economic logic behind that. Why does putting art in a marina actually make more money? It sounds counterintuitive to some.
It all goes back to the customer. The sources describe a really significant shift in the demographic of yacht owners. They've coined a term for it, the visionary generation.
The visionary generation. Okay, who are they?
Well, think about who they're not. They are not the old school yacht owners who just wanted, gold faucets and the flashiest bling.
The traditional conspicuous consumption.
Gone. Or at least it's not the driving factor for this new group. This new generation is looking for authenticity. They're looking for cultural depth. They prioritize ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance ethics. They want their travel to mean something.
So if I'm a billionaire millennial or a Gen Z yacht owner, I don't just want a safe harbor for my boat. I want a harbor that tells me a story, a place with a soul.
That's it in a nutshell. If a marina is just a slab of concrete, it has no story. It's interchangeable. It could be in Turkey or Croatia or Florida, it doesn't matter.
It's a commodity.
But if that marina is an art marina, if it's deeply integrated with the history and the aesthetics of its specific region, it becomes a destination in and of itself. And that allows for what they call qualitative differentiation.
And that differentiation, that uniqueness, is what allows for premium pricing, better retail opportunities, higher visitor retention, all of it.
But it goes even higher than just the marina's balance sheet, Alexandra. We have to talk about soft power.
This is where it gets really strategic for me. The idea that a single marina, or a network of them, can be a genuine national asset.
Think about it. A marina is often the very first point of entry for high net worth individuals into a country. It is, for all intents and purposes, the front door.
And you want your front door to be impressive.
You want it to reflect the best of the nation. The doctrine talks about a concept called Mediterranean clarity. It suggests the marina should reflect both its cultural identity and its environmental values in one clear statement.
They mention Posidonia protection here, the seagrass. We'll definitely get to that when we talk about the infrastructure itself. But the core idea is that by protecting the environment and showcasing the culture, the marina becomes a kind of ambassador.
An ambassador is the perfect word. And it creates what they call a strategic causality. If Greece activates the system first, let's say with the GMA acting as the first national network, it doesn't just fix its own problem. It sets a new global standard.
It moves from being a follower in the industry to a leader, a trendsetter. Okay, so the logic is sound. We move from boat parking to cultural hub to capture value from this new visionary generation. And in doing so, project soft power. But how? How do you actually do it? This is where Alexandros Mimoglou's background as an architect and artist really comes into play. They have a methodology, and it's called the 400-plus artworks method.
And this is the engine of the whole transformation. It is so crucial to understand, as you said, that they're not talking about just buying 400 paintings and hanging them in the marina office.
Right, this is not decoration. That's a key distinction.
It is not decoration. They describe it as an art-based spatial engine. What they are doing is using a curated database of over 400 classical artworks, we're talking everything from the Renaissance to the early 20th century, as the actual DNA for the design of the space.
How does that work in practice? How does a Renaissance painting become, say, a marina's design language?
It's about extracting the symbolic and psychographic identity from the art. So let's say you have a marina in a specific region of Greece with a unique history. You don't just pick colors for your signs at random from a paint swatch book.
No.
You might look at paintings from history that reference the specific quality of light in that place, or the landscape, or the myths that were born on that very coast. You then use the color palettes, the geometries, even the moods from those masterworks to inform everything. The signage, the architecture, the lighting on the docks at night.
So the art solves what they call the intellectual puzzle of the marina's identity. It gives you the answer key.
Exactly. They reference EURAN newsletters 74 and 75 here, which are fascinating reads. Newsletter 74 is all about reimagining the port, and 75 is the deep dive into this specific methodology. The goal is to align the psychographic profile of the visitor with the narrative of the space.
It's almost subliminal. In a way, you arrive and you just feel like you are in a place with deep roots, with a story, even if you can't immediately point to a specific painting and say, that's where it's from.
It creates that authentic sense of place that is so incredibly rare in modern infrastructure.
And that leads us directly into what they call the proprietary path. The sources outline a very specific 6-step transformation process. This isn't vague theory. It is a step-by-step roadmap.
It's the how-to guide.
Let's walk through these 6 steps because this is really the core of it for any operator or for the Greek Marinas Association listening to this. Step 1 is cultural identity mapping.
This is the foundation. Before you build a single thing, before you even paint a wall, You map the identity. You use that database of 400-plus artworks from the Art and Design 2-day project to define the narrative anchors.
You ask the big questions.
What is the story of this specific waterfront? Is it a story of heroism, of serenity? Is it about ancient myths or modernist futures? You define the symbolic anchors first.
Okay, so you have your story, you've mapped your identity. Step 2 is aesthetic transformation.
This is where you translate that story into a spatial language. It's the practical application. This involves the design of the signage, the color systems, ensuring a visual coherence across the entire site. It also involves what they call micro-interventions in public spaces.
So it's making sure that everything the visitor's eye touches reinforces that core identity we defined back in step 1.
Every bench, every light fixture, every sign, coherence.
Then comes step 3, economic activation. This is where the CFOs and the investors really start to perk up.
Right. So you've created this beautiful, culturally resonant space. Now, how do you monetize it beyond the berth fees? This step is all about creating new revenue streams through cultural retail.
And we're not just talking about a standard gift shop with t-shirts.
No, we're talking about high-end art-derived products, which we'll discuss later when we get to the Maritime Edition, prototype and strategic partnerships with luxury brands that want to associate themselves with this high-culture, high-value environment.
It effectively turns the marina into a premium retail destination.
Yeah.
But for unique, culturally relevant items that you can't get anywhere else.
Step 4 is network integration. This one is absolutely key for an organization like the GMA. It's about connecting the individual marinas, which are now culturally branded, into a single unified entity.
So Flisbos Marina isn't just an island onto itself. It becomes part of a larger branded chain, a circuit.
Exactly that. They can share cultural calendars, they can co-promote, they can create unified digital storytelling. If you're a yacht owner, you start to feel like you are moving through a curated journey, not just hopping between a series of unconnected parking lots.
That makes perfect sense. It builds tremendous loyalty to the network, not just to one location. Then we have step 5, international bridges.
This step is about scaling up and out. It's creating the dialogue with the big international operators, the Demerins and the IGYs of the world. It's about connecting the now unified Greek network to Cyprus, Croatia, Italy, Spain.
Positioning the Greek network as a peer, or as you said earlier, a leader among these established global giants.
It puts them at the same table. And finally, step 6, soft power positioning.
Back to the big picture.
This brings us full circle back to the national strategy. The Marina Network now becomes a tangible instrument of national influence. It's actively telling the story of a modern, sophisticated, and environmentally conscious Greek maritime identity to the world's most influential people.
It's an incredibly comprehensive plan. But I want to pivot now to something that really caught my eye in these documents. We've talked a lot about concepts, but let's talk about hardware. Let's talk about the physical infrastructure on the water itself. Section 4 of our outline covers infrastructure as brand floating solutions.
This is one of the most innovative and, I think, brilliant parts of the entire proposal. We know there's a shortage of berths. The traditional solution is to, pour more concrete or bring in standard, off-the-shelf industrial floating docks.
Which are usually just ugly gray industrial rectangles. They're functional, but that's about it.
Precisely. They are treated as purely technical, purely functional assets. The Art Marina approach completely reimagines them. It reframes them as high-visibility cultural carriers.
So the dock itself, the thing you walk on to get to your boat, that becomes a piece of art.
Yes. Imagine a floating docks prototype where the surface you walk on is a curated surface. It has integrated lighting, it has visual narratives etched into it, it has textures and colors that are all derived from that identity we spoke about from the paintings. It's an art platform on the water.
That completely changes the experience of just walking to your boat. Instead of trudging across a hot gray plastic pontoon, you're walking across a piece of design, an installation.
And it extends out from the docks into the water itself with the mooring buoys prototype. Usually a mooring buoy is just a plastic ball, an afterthought. Here they are reimagined as chromatic constellations.
Chromatic constellations. That sounds wonderfully poetic.
It is poetic, but it's also highly functional. At night, these buoys are designed to light up in specific patterns, creating a unique visual identity for the harbor from the sea. They become eco-markers. And most importantly, they're designed to integrate with Posidonia-friendly moorings.
Right, the seagrass. This is the ESG angle.
A huge one. Posidonia oceanica is a vital part of the Mediterranean ecosystem. It's a massive carbon sink. But traditional anchors and mooring blocks drag and destroy it. These artistic moorings are designed with eco-anchors that sit above the seabed or fix in a way that protects this vital biodiversity.
So you have the intersection of ecology, the ESG component aesthetics, and pure functionality, all in one piece of hardware.
It's brilliant, isn't it? You're solving the environmental problem, the berth shortage problem, and the branding problem, all with a single, elegant piece of infrastructure.
It really is. And the scale of intervention that's mentioned here for the GMA and for FLSVOs is significant. They talk about an annex with 20 specific artistic interventions, 10 docks, 10 mooring systems. This isn't just one little prototype. It's a system designed to create a unified visual language across the entire AGEN.
A language that says quality, culture, and care for the environment.
So we have the doctrine, we have the method, we have the hardware. Now let's talk about the nucleus. Every organism needs a heart. Section 5 describes the cultural heart of the Art Marina.
This is the concept of the Art Center. For a major flagship marina like FLSVO's, which has the physical space and the international prestige, this would be a purpose-built building.
And what's inside?
It's a convergence. A gallery space, a micro-museum, a highly curated shop, and a cultural intelligence hub, all under one roof.
And this would be the place where they could exhibit works from that 400 artist EURAN network we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. And it would also feature signature pieces by Alexandros Mimoglou and Maria Papafili themselves. It's the physical anchor for the whole brand experience. But what I find even more clever, Alexander, is the solution for the smaller marinas.
Right, because not every little island marina has the space or the budget for a new museum.
Not at all. And that's where the gallery chair comes in.
The gallery chair, or gallery corner, they call it the scalable level.
That's the one.
Explain that to me. A chair? How can a chair be a cultural heart?
It's a minimal but very elegant cultural touch point. It could be a specifically designed wall with integrated media, a unique seating area, or literally a beautifully designed chair that has a digital interface or simple QR code next to it. The idea is to create a distributed cultural network.
Ah, I see. So even a tiny marina on a small remote island can have a gallery chair.
Yeah.
And if I, as a visitor, scan that code or interact with it, I'm immediately connected to the same grand narrative, the same digital content as the big art center back in Athens.
Precisely. It connects all the dots in the network. It's a small physical marker that signifies this place, no matter how small, is part of the Art Marina Network. It's an incredibly low-cost, high-impact way to spread the brand footprint and ensure consistency.
Speaking of brand, let's move to Section 6, Prototypes and Brand Architecture. The documents make a very specific and I think important distinction here. They say brand architecture is not an accessory. It is a separate, billable, high-value strategic service.
This is a critical point for the business side of things. Many people hear brand and they just think of a logo and a color scheme.
Right, the surface level stuff.
But here they're talking about the experience identity, the entire system. It involves the visual identity, yes, but also the narrative architecture, the stories you tell, and the brand governance, which are the rules for how the marina communicates. It is the fundamental operating system for the entire experience.
And they have two fascinating prototypes listed here to illustrate this. The first one is called the Hour of Greece.
This is a conceptual soft power prototype. It hasn't been executed yet, but the vision behind it is incredibly powerful. It's described as a distributed cultural gesture.
The Hour of Greece.
Yeah.
Sounds almost diplomatic or even poetic.
It's both. Imagine a coordinated moment in time. A signal, it could be visual, digital, or physical, that activates simultaneously across all the participating shipyards, marinas, and even designers. It's designed to reveal the sheer scale and ubiquity of the Greek maritime presence on a global stage.
A flash of light across the network.
It's a way of showing the world without saying a word, we are everywhere. And it does it without needing heavy, expensive infrastructure. It's a signal. It is pure soft power.
That's fascinating. The second prototype is the Maritime Edition. This one seems much more tangible and immediate.
Yes, this one is described as available and operational. It's an on-demand collection of art-derived products.
So these are the high-end items for the cultural retail spaces we talked about.
Exactly. Contemporary objects, think silks, sculptural objects, fine prints, all designed by Alexandros Mimoglou himself, and all based on the deep well of art history that powers the whole system. But the genius here is the on-demand part of the model.
That's the key, isn't it? It means it's a layer of value for the marinas that carries absolutely no inventory risk.
That's so important. A marina shop doesn't have to guess what will sell and buy 5,000 silk scarves and then hope to move them. They are activated on demand. A customer sees it, wants it, orders it, and it's produced.
That's incredibly smart. And because the products are based on that deep art history, they reinforce the cultural brand. It's not just a souvenir, it's a high-culture souvenir that tells a story.
It becomes a piece of the experience that you take home with you.
Now, Maria, whenever we look at a plan this ambitious, I mean, we're talking about transforming an entire national industry here, we have to ask the crucial question. Who are these people? Do they actually have the credibility to pull this off? Section 7 covers the orchestrators.
And this is where the profile of EURAN becomes so critical because, as they say, ideas are cheap, execution is everything. EURAN, European Art Networks, was established way back in 1994. They have a documented track record of over 40 years in this space.
And crucially, specifically in the maritime sector. This isn't their first time at the docks.
That is the key differentiator. These are not gallery owners who just decided to look at boats one day. They have delivered 19 major cruise industry art programs.
19 cruise ships.
19 new builds and refits. And that includes the production and installation of over 40,000 individual artworks.
40,000. That is a staggering number to even comprehend.
Just try to imagine the logistics of that. Installing art on a new build vessel or during a high-pressure refit requires dealing with impossibly strict budgets, absolute unmovable deadlines, the ship leaves port when it leaves port, and incredibly complex global logistics.
Not to mention safety standards, fire codes, vibration damping. You can't just hang a painting on a wall with a nail.
So they understand the harsh environment of the sea. They know that you can't just put a delicate canvas on a salt-sprayed deck. They have solved these problems over and over again.
And the team dynamic itself seems important. You have Alexandros Mimoglou bringing the architecture, the urbanism, and the fine arts vision, and you have Maria Papafili bringing the cultural strategy and the management expertise.
It's that blend, the visionary thinking combined with proven operational reliability.
That combination is exceptionally rare. Usually you get the brilliant dreamer who can't build, or you get the competent builder who has no taste.
Precisely. And that credibility, that track record, is what allows them to propose something as ambitious as what's in Section 8, the Bridges Doctrine.
Bridges, all in capital letters. This is about connecting the marina to the rest of the high-end economy, right?
Yes, we touched on this earlier, but the Bridges concept is what formally links the Art Marina to tourism, hospitality, five-star hotels, cruise terminals, high-end real estate, and even private aviation.
Culture as the infrastructure for global assembly. That's the phrase they use.
It's a great phrase. If you think about the journey of a high-net-worth traveler, they move through these distinct bubbles. They fly private, they stay in a luxury hotel suite, they board their yacht. Bridges suggests that culture is the common thread that can sew all of these disparate experiences together into one seamless, branded narrative.
So the art you see in the marina has a clear aesthetic link to the art in the hotel you just left, which maybe even connects to the aesthetic of the private jet terminal you arrived at.
It creates a unified, high-value ecosystem, a world.
So for the Greek Marinas Association, the GMA, what are the practical options? How do they actually press the go button on something this big?
The proposal is very pragmatic here. It outlines 3 clear options. Option A, which is noted as the preferred one, is parallel activation.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning all the interested marinas in the network start adopting the framework more or less simultaneously. You don't wait for one to finish before starting the next. You create a wave of transformation across the country. Momentum.
Okay. What's option B?
Option B is full network activation. This is a more top-down approach. The GMA, as the governing body, decides, okay, we are doing this, and it then rolls out across the entire national network, probably in structured phases.
And option C?
Option C is the FLISVOS as testbed model. You focus all the initial resources and attention on FLISVOS Marina. You make it the shining example, the demonstrator project. You document the success, the ROI, and then you use that success story to export the model to the other marinas.
And from there, it scales internationally, to DMarin, to IGY, and beyond.
The ambition is clearly global. Greece is just the starting line because of that yachting paradox we discussed at the very beginning. It's the market with the most obvious urgent need.
So let's wrap this up, Maria. I've gone very deep here. What is the final takeaway? What does this all mean?
Well, if we summarize the strategic causality, it's a very clear and logical progression. You move from parking to cultural brand. By doing that, you're forced to transform the infrastructure itself, the docks, the buoys, into valuable assets. And the sum of all those parts is national soft power.
It's not just about renting a berth for a night anymore. It's about selling the dream, the story of the Greek Mediterranean.
And the final thought here, I think, is that the Art Marina Network isn't really about art. I mean, it uses art as its primary tool, but the ultimate goal isn't just to make things pretty.
It's about structural competitiveness.
Exactly. It is all about the structural competitiveness of the entire maritime economy. In a world where every sunny country can offer sun and sea, culture is the only truly uncopyable asset.
That is a very powerful takeaway. You can copy a dock design. You cannot copy 2,000 years of history.
You cannot.
The sources end with a very clear call to action. They are offering a focused 20-minute strategic briefing directly to the GMA board and to the international operators.
It's a smart move. You don't try to sell the whole elephant at once. You just sell the very next step.
Well, Maria, this has been an incredible journey through a truly fascinating proposal. It's rare we get to see a plan that so elegantly combines Renaissance art with, floating concrete docks.
It is exactly the kind of cross-disciplinary thinking that is required to solve these billion-euro problems.
So, to our listener, here is a thought. The next time you walk by a marina, look at the water, look at the docks. Ask yourself, is it just a parking lot? Or could it be a canvas, and what would that change for the city, for the country that lies behind it?
A question worth pondering for sure.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you on the next one.